Chapter 54. Ben. Malcolm's face lit up with a smile as he strode quickly towards his rooms. "She must have gotten away from the rebels," he exclaimed, "and came straight away to assure me that the child was safe." Ben rolled his eyes, matching Malcolm's quick pace with ease. "I doubt it," he breathed under his breath, thinking of how much Yasmin despised Malcolm. And what rebels? What the hell was Malcolm talking about? There were no rebels, no opposition, nothing but scared citizens hiding away from them. They hurried through the hallways, passing many guards who all wore the same smile. Malcolm's drones. Ben couldn't help but feel a surge of disgust, his mouth twisting in distaste. It was still unbelievable to him. After all these months, how easily people could be manipulated into blindly following any jerk who spouted what they wanted to hear. Hell, he had fallen for it too, practically worshipping Malcolm's feet and blindly obeying his every command, even after knowing the truth about whom Malcolm really was. "It will be a relief when it is time for the child to be born." Malcolm smiled, already the proud father. "All in good time, all in good time," Ben echoed, reciting one of Malcolm's favorite phrases. The words hung in the air, a subtle indication of the shift in power dynamics between Malcolm and Ben. But he seemed oblivious to the changing roles, too focused on his own thoughts of Yasmin and getting to his rooms. Malcolm flashed a bright, confident smile, revealing his perfectly straight white teeth. Ben couldn't help but wonder about the dentist who had done the bonding. Was he still alive? A member of the Decree organization? Or had he met the same fate as many others in Lex? Death at the hands of Malcolm Gobo. As they reached the rooms, Malcolm's hand trembled with anticipation as he reached for the doorknob. Without a moment of hesitation, he pushed open the door and strode inside. The room was empty. "Yasmin?" There was a hint of desperation clinging to Malcolm's voice. His frantic footsteps echoed through each room as he searched for her. "Yasmin, are you here?" The silence that greeted them was deafening, broken only by the sound of Malcolm's breathing. He continued to call out her name, his panic growing with each empty response. Ben wandered from one room to the next, methodically opening doors and peeking into closets. He couldn't help but notice how meticulously organized the clothing was, with shirts arranged by color and pants neatly folded in designated categories. It was unnaturally perfect, bordering on obsessive. Was Ben really surprised? These were Malcolm and Tabitha's rooms after all. Malcolm's hands clenched into fists as he paced back and forth in his bedroom, frustration building inside of him. He kicked at an empty drawer left open at the bottom of a neatly organized dresser in the otherwise impeccable bedroom. "Where is she?" he stammered, slamming his fists on top of the furniture. Ben watched as an envelope on the dresser tipped over from the force of Malcolm's blow. He saw Yasmin's distinctive handwriting on the front of it. Reaching out, he grabbed the letter, noticing its slimness. Whatever was inside the envelope wasn't much. He flipped it over and saw Yasmin's handwriting on the envelope, neatly spelling out his and Malcolm's names. "What is this?" Malcolm reached out to grab the paper. He quickly scanned the names printed in bold black ink before tearing open the envelope. His gaze darted across the page, but then paused. Malcolm thrust the yellow stationery at Ben, his face contorted with frustration. "Explain, Ben." He shook the letter as if it was a foreign object rather than just a simple piece of paper. Just then, Tabitha entered the room. Great, Ben thought. Just what I need. Tabitha. Could it get much worse? "Is she here?" Tabitha asked, her hands twitching as always. Malcolm and Ben ignored her as Ben scanned the letter. He began to read it aloud, the words not registering in his mind. Maybe if he heard them spoken, they would make more sense. "Ben, Malcolm, all I wanted was to marry you, Ben, and have a baby together. You both shattered that dream, taking everything I was and destroying it. I stood by your side, Ben, watching the horrors done at the hand of Malcolm Gobo and did nothing. I have done horrific things. Things I can't take back. No more. I am now clean, rid of the sour you have both forced into my life, clean to start again. I am no sister. I sure as hell refuse to be the chosen one. Here's her gift back. Rotten hell, you bastards." Ben raised his head from the letter, giving Malcolm a puzzled look. What the hell was Yasmin talking about? Her letter was a muddled mess of random words thrown together. At that moment, a shrill scream echoed through the room. Tabitha stood over the bed with the brown leather satchel gripped in her hands, her eyes fixed on its contents. "No! No, no, no!" Shaking her head in disbelief, Tabitha wailed as she pulled out a white bundle from a bag they'd overlooked at the edge of the bed. Tabitha let out a gut-wrenching cry and let go of the blanket, revealing what Yasmin had hidden inside. Ben stood outside of himself, unable to turn away from the unfolding scene. Malcolm clutched the blanket to his chest, his face overcome with sorrow. Tabitha fell to her knees beside the bed, her mouth silently forming the word, "No." Malcolm's sharp, penetrating gaze shattered Ben's foggy mind, jolting him back to the present with a sudden burst of noise and chaos, as soldiers responded to the cries and stormed into the room. Ben stood frozen in place, his body paralyzed as men jostled past him. His gaze remained fixed on Malcolm's, their eyes locked in a fierce stare. Malcolm sat down on the bed, still clasping the white bundle to his chest, his intense stare never wavering, burning into Ben's soul. Pain was in those eyes, but it was overshadowed by something else lurking behind them, something darker and more dangerous. It was pure hatred. Not the average kind of hate, but deep-seated, one that sent shivers of terror through Ben's entire core. An eerie feeling washed over him, as if someone had just walked over his grave. Fear took over him and wouldn't let go. "My God, Yasmin," he whispered. "What have you done?"